I have been a little bit petty. And I have no problem admitting that I do tend to have a petty streak in me, especially when it comes to things like what I'm about to talk about. There is a Facebook page that I follow that posts folklore stuff, and there was a person on there that posted, well, I wouldn't even call it a meme because it wasn't funny, but it was why witches wear pointy hats. And what she said in that post was just wrong. It was just a medieval fashion. You know, women during medieval times and also the witch burning times, they did tend to have these little pointy headdresses, which has nothing to do with being a witch or what was said in that meme. But anyway, it's not about that. I, of course, there was also something about Wicca in there, Wiccan witches. So of course I couldn't help myself, and I had to say, like, oh, see, this just goes to show that Wiccans are Abrahamic, because that must be where the Abrahamic tendency to rewrite history comes from. And of course that set one of them off, like you wouldn't believe. I mean, look, you believe what you want to believe after all, but I also believe what I want to believe. And there is no way in Helheim that I will ever think that Wiccans are pagans. Ever. I know Thomas has made videos about this, but I want to give my own perspective on this, doing what I do. I agree with the fact that it's churchy, because that person responding to me said, like, I am a Wiccan high priestess, and my first thought right off the bat was like, of course you are. You're all high priestesses. Every single one of you is a high priestess. You all bypass the fact that a high priestess has subordinate priests and priestesses. Hellenic paganism had that too. They had high priestesses and priests that were in charge of the temple, and they were in charge of the everyday running of the temple. But one thing they were not was churchy. They didn't have sermons. People could go into the temple of Hellenic temples and make their offerings, make their requests to the gods, but they didn't hold sermons. You wouldn't have seen that in Hellenic paganism. People going to church to hear what the high priest had to say, because that wasn't their job. It wasn't their job to be proselytizing. It wasn't their job to preach to the masses. The masses believe what they want to believe. And that is the heart of paganism. Believe what you want to believe. But it irked me that this person called it neo-paganism. And that set off my pettiness. Because if you refer to paganism as neo-paganism, what are you really referring to? What are you really saying there? Is this some kind of new born-again Christian? Nobody ever refers to Christianity as neo-Christianity, even though the Catholic Church is as good as dead in Europe, except for some countries that seem to cling on to it with a desperation. But in Belgium, I can remember the Catholic Church being absolutely dead. The churches are empty. Nobody cares what these people have to say. Somehow they're still tax-free though. Yeah, I guess that has a political reason. But anyway, that's not what I wanted to say about that all. Neo-paganism is a term invented by Abrahamics. So if you use that language, I know you're an Abrahamic. or at least you follow their dogma, because paganism is our natural state. Especially as a European, we were pagans before we were brainwashed to be Abrahamics. And I want to emphasize this. I have no problem with you as a Christian or you as a Muslim or you as a Jew. It's fine. It's fine with me. But you need to be fine with me being a pagan, not a neo-pagan, a pagan. I told this woman that Wicca was invented to keep morons away from actual occultism. And she went on a diatribe that lasted for days. It's still going on, by the way. She's still responding to me, even though I'm not really responding to her. And if I do respond to her now, it's a short sentence of, haha, diatribes, walls of text. I told this woman that if Wicca was invented in the 1950s, it has nothing to do with old beliefs or paganism, which is what she said to me. Wicca has existed longer than any Abrahamic religion. No, you're wrong. Wicca is a nitpicking of all the pagan religions around the world and just picking the parts you like. This is called cherry picking. You gloss over the facts that you don't like. You ignore them, especially the parts that have to do with darkness, knowledge of the self. You cannot have knowledge of yourself by glossing over all the dark shit. Live, love, laugh. It's all whimsical. It's all fun and games. That's not how the occult works, unfortunately. That's why I said before that these people that live under the assumption that everything should be love and light and fun and games, it's all whimsy. It's supposed to be fun. You should stay away from the occult. And this is what I think about this person responding to me as well. Well, if this person had real knowledge of the occult, she would have known that the law of nature is nothing more but energy exchange. That's just the law of nature. Something for something else. This is more or less the point of making a sacrifice. A sacrifice in the eyes and the ears of an Abrahamic automatically means suffering. Wrong. You can sacrifice time, you can sacrifice energy, you can sacrifice something you made, or just your attention. You can sacrifice your attention. Now, if this Wiccan high priestess had any real knowledge of occultism, she'd have known never to respond to me. Not because I'm in any way better than her, because I'm somehow superior to her, not at all. But she spent hours of her life that she will never get back responding to me in walls of text. And she got nothing out of it. Nothing at all. She didn't convince me that Wicca is not Abrahamic. In fact, she confirmed everything I already thought about Wiccans. She got nothing out of this. That's how I know you don't have occult knowledge. That's how I know Wicca was invented to keep morons like that away from real occultism. I have to say, and I would like to emphasize, that I don't think that Wicca is inherently evil. I don't think that. But I do think it is meant, it was created as a distraction for people like her. I think that's why Wicca is now a recognized religion in the UK. It's true. Wicca is a recognized religion in the UK. As far as I know, only the UK. But this woman spent hours arguing with me, 4 days, for nothing at all. She got nothing out of it. So why do that? Why did she do that? Because she was what's that called? Proselytizing. She was proselytizing. She was trying to convince me that Wicca is older than any Abrahamic religion by preaching to me like an Abrahamic priest. She even threw in a few threats as well, saying that, the threefold Wiccan law, it will come to haunt you. No, it won't. It won't. Because first I didn't do anything wrong to this person. I just made a joke and then disagreed with her. So yeah, I actually have a lot to say about Wiccans. Or Wicca. But I'll keep it at that. That has been my personal experience with almost every Wiccan I ever encountered. You all say the same things. You all read the same things on the internet and repeat it as if it is the words from the gods themselves. That in itself should tell you that your religion, and Wicca is a religion, is dogmatic and preachy. But if you have a different opinion about it, feel free to leave it in the comments.